Welcome back to the video series on significant figures and calculations. In the last video, we looked at rules for multiplication and division, as well as addition and subtraction. So in this last video, we're going to look at multi-step calculations that involve both multiplication or division and addition or subtraction. Okay, and the important thing to keep in mind when you're doing multi-step calculations is that you've got to take it one step at a time. All right, and each step you're going to stop and figure out how many sig figs that you have in that step and then move on to the next step. Okay, so in the first example, we have 88.5 minus 87.57. Now, order of operations is going to state that this here is inside of parentheses, and we must complete that subtraction before we divide by the 45.13. Okay, so our first step is to look at the subtraction of 88.5 minus 87.57. Okay, and in your calculator, it should come back to be 0.93. Now remember, with addition and subtraction, we're going to underline and see what the last digit of significance is in terms of its place value, and that goes out to the tenths place. And then in the second number, all of those digits are significant, and so the last digit farthest to the right is the 7, and so it goes out to the hundredths place. Okay, so the shortest one to the left of those two options is the tenths place. Okay, so our significance ends at the tenths place. But when we're doing multi-step calculations, the other important thing is to always keep one extra digit. And this is to prevent round-off errors. Okay, and the way that I tell myself when something is significant or not, and I'm doing multi-step calculations, is that I will take that 0.9 and the last digit that I keep to prevent round-off errors, I subscript it. That's to tell myself that it's not significant, but I'm going to use it in my calculator to prevent round-off errors. Okay, and then I'm going to take that number and divide by the 45.13. Now we're doing a division step, and so we need to look at the number of sig figs in each number. Okay, in the top number, that 0 is not significant. It's a placeholder, comes before a non-zero digit, and so the only digit of significance is that 9, because the 3 is not significant either based on our first step in our calculation. So the top number only has one sig fig, and that's going to limit our sig figs to 1 in our final answer. The bottom number, all are significant, and so those are going to be 4 sig figs. Okay, so our final answer, again, in the calculator, it's going to come out to be 0.0205, and it'll keep going. But we only need one digit of significance. The zeros are not significant. They come before a non-zero digit, and so the only digit of significance is that 2. And then we're going to look next to it and decide to round down. Now, the first zeros are important for magnitude, so we do keep them even if they're not significant. And so we get 0.02 as our final answer. Okay, last example. Now, in this one, we've got 2 steps to do before we do the subtraction step. Our first task is to divide the 24.86 divided by 2.0. And then the next step is to multiply the 3.26 times the 0.098. Okay, and each time we're going to look at the number of significant figures because these are division and multiplication steps. So in the first number, 24.86, all of those are significant, and we've got 4 sig figs. The bottom number, yes, that 0 is significant because it comes after a non-zero digit and there is a decimal. Doesn't matter where it's at. And so that's 2 sig figs. Okay, so our answer to that first step should have 2 sig figs, but we're going to keep 1 extra digit. And so when we divide those out, you get back 12. Okay, so that's my 2 sig figs. And then 0.4. And we will subscript that 4 because it's not significant. Now in the second step where we multiply the 3.26, that's 3 sig figs. All of those are non-zero digits, and all of them are significant. And then the 0.98, remember that 0 is not significant, it's a placeholder. Okay, so we've got 3 sig figs times 2 sig figs for the 0.98. So our final answer for that step should have 2 sig figs, and we get back 3.1, and we're going to carry 1 extra digit to prevent round off errors. Okay, so that's 3.19. Again, the 9 is not significant. And our last step is a subtraction step. So we're going to subtract those two, which means we want to line them up vertically with the decimals. We've got 12.4, still going to subscript it, so I know it's not significant, minus the 3.19. Subscript that 9 because it's not. Okay, the first number, the top number, only has 2 digits of significance out to the 2, and so that's the ones place. And then our second number goes out to the tenths place of significance. And so the farthest to the left of those two options is the ones place. So my final answer needs to be rounded to the ones place. And if I subtract both of these, I get back 9.21. And again, only the ones place matters. Look to the right of that and see that I round down for a final answer of just 9. Again, because of the ones place in the 12. Now, another option is that you can simply plug everything into your calculator and get the final answer and try to round to the proper number of sig figs. But if you do that, you've still got to take each step at a time and do something like this where you look at the sig figs. Okay, and then maybe at the very end you could just plug this entire calculation into your calculator and make sure that it does come out rounded to one significant figure at 9. Okay, I hope this helps. This wraps up significant figures.